welcome to week 3 of the Lorna Jane Active Living program. This week I'm going to be guiding you through a beautiful hip opening sequence. So if you're a runner, if you're a cyclist or an athlete, and even if you just spend a lot of time sitting at a desk all day, which is pretty much all of us, then you can really benefit from this practice. I would suggest taking this flow in conjunction with week 1 or week 2's flow. That way you can warm up the body a little bit more to avoid injury. If you are short on time, try to take between 3 to 5 sun salutations before taking this sequence. Let's begin in Tadasana. Take the feet hip distance apart, ground down through all 4 corners of both feet. Activate the posture by drawing the kneecaps in towards the thighs, draw the navel in towards the spine, shoulders back, reaching through the crown of the head. Take your hands onto the hips. From your Tadasana, let's take this into a goddess pose. Take an inhale, reach through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, step the left leg nice and wide. Take the heels in, toes out. Bend the knees and check the knees are tracking over the big toes. You want to ground down through all 4 corners of both the feet to find your balance. And then exhale, release the hands to the tops of the knees. As you inhale, reach to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, drop the left shoulder to the midline and gently press the knee away using the left thumb. As you inhale, reach through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, take the left shoulder to the midline and gently press the left knee away. Use the breath, come back. And as you exhale, switch sides. Gently press that right knee away using the right thumb. And use the breath to come back. From here, come all the way up, straighten the knees. Pivot on the right foot, pivot on the left. Hands come to the hips, take an inhale. From here, let's go into a wide-legged forward fold. Take an inhale, reach through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, hinging from the hips, find a forward fold. Let's meet in a halfway lift, taking the hands off the mat. Inhale, ground the feet in towards the mat. You want to feel like the weight is in the balls of the feet, but try to keep the heels connected. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, bend into the right knee, and then straighten the left toes face up. If you're feeling grounded, take your hands into the heart. And if you feel like you need more support, take the hands onto the floor or onto the mat. If that back heel starts to lift, come up high. Try to keep the butt low and chest high. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, transition into a runner's lunge to the top of the mat. Use the hands to guide you into that direction. So from here, let's take a hamstring stretch. Start to walk your hands down beside the body. Straighten the front knee and flex the toes towards the ceiling. Adjust yourself as you need to. If you want to feel this stretch through the back of the right leg, inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head, lift the chest, and then as you exhale, folding into the front thigh. Keep activating the posture by reaching the toes towards the kneecaps. Inhale, exhale. Use the next breath, come all the way back. And then from here, let's find a twist, grounding the left hand beside the front foot. Reach the right arm overhead, gaze in that direction. Exhale, plant the hands. From here, we want to take a pyramid posture, once again to hit that stretch through the back of the right leg. Come up high in the ball of your back foot, ground into that left foot. Straighten the front knee. Now find your train tracks. Feet are roughly hip distance apart. You can take your stance in a little bit closer or a little bit wider if you're working towards flexibility. Work the right hip back, left hip forward, and supporting the body with your hands on either side of your front foot. If you've got a couple of blocks nearby, you can use those to bring the floor up to you. If not, come up high in the fingertips. From here, lift the chest and then exhale, fold forward. You don't have to go too deep in this posture. We're really working towards this stretch through the back of the right leg. Keep grounding through all four corners of both the feet to keep your balance. Inhale and stay for the breath out. Last inhale. Breathing into any tight areas. From here, let's go ahead and take our Skandasana to the opposite side of the mat. You can support your body by walking the hands and then heel toe the feet a little bit wider so we can work into our side lunge. Take an inhale, reach to the crown of the head, and as you exhale, send the weight into the left foot, flex the right foot, and hands come to heart. Just remembering here, we're working towards this beautiful opening through the hips. Keep grounding the left foot in towards the earth, heels connecting to the mat, butt is low, chest is high. And of course, you can always support your body with your hands. From here, let's transition to a runner's lunge to the opposite side of the mat. Check that the knee is aligned with the heel. Frame the front foot. Release the back knee, or for a more active stretch, keep it lifted. Heel toe the left foot 5 centimeters, and then both hands to the inside of your front foot. I'm going to go ahead and release that knee again for a more passive stretch. From here, once again, if you're looking for a deeper stretch, come onto the elbows. And if you're looking for more still, you can come onto the blade of your front foot. Now you're going to feel more open on one side than you would on the other, and that's okay, you're not broken. We tend to have tendencies to one side over the other. Once again, breathing into any tight areas. Getting this beautiful stretch through the hip flexors and the front of your right quad. And then from here, pressing down through the front foot, pressing down into both your hands, starting to bend at the back knee, and then reaching the left arm behind this time, and just remember thumbs face up. Now if the hand doesn't quite reach to the back foot, that's okay. Just the activation is going to help you get that little bit closer to this posture. Keep pressing the hand into the floor, and then if you want a bit more, come onto the blade of the front foot again. Try to work the navel towards the spine here so you're not dumping into your joints. Really activate the posture by pressing the floor away. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, release the top of your foot. Release the left foot. And let's go ahead and take a half split. Heel toe that left foot back to the midline. Walk the hands back. Stretching through the back of that left hamstring. Start to point the toes to work the stretch a little bit more. And again, it doesn't matter if you don't get too deep. Try to keep the hips square to the top of the mat rather than sinking or swaying side to side. Just let the breath guide you here. Inhale. Exhale. Walk the hands to the top of the mat. Ground the right hand beside the left foot, and then reach the left arm overhead to find your twist. Exhale, take it back. From here, let's take our pyramid pose to the opposite side. Ground through the back foot, find your train tracks. Try to keep the legs nice and straight. You want to actively draw this left hip back and right hip forward to square towards the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head, taking any blocks or anything that you've got nearby, and then folding over the front thigh. And it helps to look at a gaze point. In this case, I'm going to look at my big toe. Staying for the exhale. This is a pretty intense stretch through the back of the left leg. Inhale. Exhale. And then from here, walking the hands to the top of the mat, right foot to meet the left, find a halfway lift, hands to shin bones, flat back, and then exhale, soften knees, fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, gaze towards the thumbs, and then exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shin bones. Exhale, plant your hands, left leg back, right leg back, downward facing dog. From here, let's come into another beautiful hip opener, our pigeon pose. Inhale, reach your right leg high to the sky, press the floor evenly away. Hug the right knee in towards the chest. Now stack the shoulders above the wrists. From here, take that right knee to the outside of the right wrist. Slowly release. Release the back toes. Sink into the hips. From here, check in with your alignment. Make sure that the leg is in line with the hips. If it's not, just scooch it over and press the floor away. Now, this is a pretty intense hip opener. So if you are experiencing any sharp shooting pains, I'll ask you to come onto your back and I'll show you that variation in just a moment. If you're with me and this feels comfortable, or even if it doesn't feel comfortable, you can take a block underneath the butt and that'll give you a little bit more height, which will allow us to walk our hands to the top of the mat. So take an inhale, push through the earth, and then exhale, slowly releasing the hands to the top of the mat. And then if it's available to you, take the third eye, so that's the space between the brows, onto the mat. Just breathing into any tight areas. For a lot of us, this is going to be a pretty intense posture. Take one more deep breath here. And stay for the breath out. Before walking the hands towards the body. Once again, pressing the floor away. Tuck the back toes, lift the hips, and then right foot to meet the left in a downward facing dog. So from here, let's get ready to take our pigeon pose on the opposite side. So we really come into our pigeon pose from the downward facing dog to give us momentum and allows us to find that opening through the hips. Inhale, left leg high, press the floor evenly away. From here, hug the left knee in towards the chest. You want to stack the shoulders above the wrists. Now take that left knee to the outside of the left wrist. Release the back toes. And once again, checking in with your alignment. Now, traditionally, you find pigeon pose with the shin bones in line with the mat. For most of us, this isn't available. So anywhere the leg falls is a-okay. From here, take an inhale, and then exhale, lowering all the way down onto the mat. Now, I said before that you can take a block to the opposite hip, but if that's too high, then maybe folding a blanket or a jacket underneath that left hip will help to square the hips to the front of the mat. You're letting the breath guide you a little bit deeper, surrendering into the pose. Stay with the breath. On your next inhale, walk the hands in towards the body. Push your hands through the earth. Tuck the back toes. Lift the hips. Come into your downward facing transition only before coming onto all fours. From here, let's come into a frog pose. Now I'm going to make my way so that the hands are off the mat so we can utilize the mat to protect our knees. Find your tabletop and then start to take the knees out as far out as you can. Finding that comfortable edge where we're moving away from sharp shooting pains, but working towards a stretch. From here, take the heels in line with the knees. Now keep pressing the floor away. Check that the wrists are directly beneath the shoulders. Inhale, exhale. And once again, working the navel in towards the spine so we don't just dump into our joints. We want to work the muscles here. If you feel like you can get a little bit more of a stretch here, come onto the elbows. And if you feel like you can get more still, then start to take the knees a little bit wider apart. So for a lot of us, this is going to be pretty intense, and perhaps it's not nice on the knees. And if that's the case, you can always double up on the mat so you can give your knee a little bit more cushioning. Inhale. Exhale. Now on your next inhale, take the hands beneath the shoulders, tuck the back toes, and then walk back in towards the feet. Keep the legs straight. Inhale, take a halfway lift, and then as you exhale, fold forward and walk the hands towards the back of the room, working the crown of the head towards the mat. Now here you want to press onto the tops of the balls of the feet, but keep the heel connected. Take a breath in and stay for the breath out. So you almost feel like you want to fall over here, but try not to. And then from here, use the breath to guide you into a halfway lift. Heel toe the feet so it's just wider than hip distance. Take the heels in and point the toes out. As you exhale, send the sit bones towards the mat. Bring the hands to heart to find your wide yogi squat or your garland malasana. Now, for a lot of us, this pose isn't going to be accessible. This is where a block is really nice. You can ground it down underneath the sit bones. Now, once again, if the heels start to lift, come back high. If you are super comfy here, you can activate the posture by drawing the elbows in towards the knees and the knees back in towards the elbow. Try to keep that chest lifted. Inhale, exhale. Take another big, beautiful breath in and stay for the breath out. From here, let's take another posture that's going to stretch through the inner hips. Use your hands to guide you so the sit bones come all the way to the floor. Take the soles of the feet to touch and just allowing gravity to take over here, let the knees fall to where they fall. Take your hands to the tops of your feet, and then as you exhale, leading with the heart, both in yoga and in life, allow this stretch to come through the inner hips. Now, the stretch is going to change depending on the placement of your feet. If you take it a little bit further out, you're going to feel it more in the outer hips. If you take the heels closer towards the groin, then you're going to feel it more in the inner hips. So take the option here that feels nicer for you. Now, a little secret to flexibility, it's in the exhale. So as you inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, let the breath guide you a little bit deeper into the pose, never forcing. Last inhale, and stay for the breath out. And use the next breath to come all the way up. From here, we're going to take another stretch for the outer hips, coming into a cow face pose. I'm going to turn myself to face this side so you can see the transition. Let's start by taking both legs to the top of the mat. Bend into the right knee and then stack the right knee over the left. If this is enough and the knees are screaming out to you, stay here. If you feel like you can do a little bit more, start to bend into that left knee. Take your hands to the front of the mat and send your weight in that direction so you can slide that right knee over the left, then sit back down. Adjust the feet and then reach the right arm overhead, touch the back. Take the left hand behind you, palms facing out. If you can, touch the fingertips. Take an inhale and then exhale, lean the body forward. And try to keep the sit bones connected so you're not lifted off the mat. And you should feel this in the outer hips. If you're in the modification, you're still getting that stretch through the outer hips. Use an inhale, come back. Release the top arm and release the bottom. And from here, we're going to take a fun little transition to come onto the opposite side. So ground your right foot in towards the mat like you would in Tadasana posture. Take your hands over to the side, so fingertips pointing towards in the direction of the long edge of the mat. Press into that right foot, stand up, walk the hands towards the back of the mat, towards the side of the mat, before coming onto the opposite side. And that's okay if you didn't quite make it there, you can replay the video or try again. If you are in the variation, extend the right foot towards the top of the mat, sliding the left foot on top of the right knee. If you do feel like you need a little bit more, bending into that right knee, take the weight into the hands, lean forward, and then slide that left knee over the right. This time, reach the left arm overhead, touch the back arm behind, palm facing out. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, lean forward. Once again, you should feel this stretch through the outer hips. And this posture is called the cow face pose. So you have a look at the outline of the posture. It looks similar to a cow. That's a fun little yoga fact. Take an inhale, come all the way back. Release the top arm, release the bottom. Slowly come into your Sukhasana or your easy cross-legged position. Taking the backs of the hands to the tops of the knees, sitting nice and long through the spine, closing down the eyes. Now, if you've been with me in week 1 and week 2, you'll know that I like to take a gratitude ritual after every practice. Bring your hands into the heart. Let's give love and thanks to ourselves for taking this time to honor our bodies through this practice of yoga. Let's give love and thanks to our bodies for everything our bodies do for us, day in, day out, and all that we take for granted. From here, press the thumbs onto the third eye. And to honor our practice, together we say Namaste. That completes week 3 of the Lorna Jane Active Living Program. I hope you are able to enjoy a beautiful release through the hips throughout this flow. Remember to always listen to your body through each posture and take the variation that feels nice in your body. Thank you so much for joining me. So that we can see your progress, go ahead and tag us at Lorna Jane Active and use our hashtag Active Living Program. Thank you and see you next week.